Hi, I'm Donna, one of the curriculum consultants for Rainbow Resource Center, and this is Charlene and Ray Notgrass, and we have had the honor to just talk and visit, and here we are again. Today we want to talk about homeschooling without fear. So what is it that homeschoolers are afraid of?
Well, I think our world in great measure teaches us to fear. The media would not sell newspapers. Stations would not have a lot of viewers if they said, you know, there are a lot of things good going on in our world. But instead they say, what if the other party gets into power? And so we worry about it. And so that's kind of the climate that we have. And so with homeschooling, there are things like, can I do this? What will other people think? You know, if my kids aren't going to school, what about socialization? Will they be able to get along with others? Will they miss out on something? Will they miss out on sports or chorus or debate or something? Will they get into college? And so there are all these fears going on in a homeschooling parent's head.
Do you think they're legitimate fears, or are they come from society?
I think there are issues to address.
Okay.
And to be confident about. There are answers to these questions that can give a parent confidence that we can handle this. It's going to be okay.
So what would you say to parents to help them overcome those fears?
I would love it if every parent could realize who they are. There used to be a talk show back when our kids were young where this talk show host would say every day, I'm my kid's mom. And what she meant by that was, I take responsibility. And I think a lot of times our fears actually keep us from being the moms or dads that we need to be. We just let ourselves kind of just wallow in it. I love what Mr. Rogers sings. You've got to do it. Do it, do it, do it. Because when you do, you know you did it because you did it. I believe that there's a discipline involved in homeschooling. You got to get up every day and do it, you know, and if you do take responsibility, you can rest in the fact that God made you, God made your children, He knows what He's doing, you love your children, and just don't let the past get in your way. Live in the present and spend this day with your child.
I think those are good words. Ray, what would you say to parents to encourage them?
There are so many resources. There are so many avenues of support. There are so many ways of doing this. You don't have to follow one particular approach to homeschooling. You know, somehow, for some reason, it's not enough to homeschool anymore. It's got to be, you know, this approach or this approach or this approach if you're really going to do it right. That contributes to fears. You know, what if I can't do it that way? What if I don't do it right that way? You know, that's not what it's about. It's about you and your children before the Lord, and there are resources and people and encouragements that can help you through it. And you know, current numbers are over 2 million homeschooling students in the United States today. There are a lot of people doing a really good job with homeschooling. It is being done, it can be done, and you can do it.
I think one of the reasons that parents are afraid is because they're looking around themselves. I have heard in my decades again and again about peer pressure. And usually when somebody says peer pressure, they're talking about teenagers, or they may be talking about younger children. I think that a big problem concerning peer pressure is peer pressure between parents. Sure. We let what other people are doing make us afraid. And I think we just need to lay that down. there is great pressure in our world to conform. That's why I embroidered my friends' names all over a pair of pink jeans in 1971. But we give in to peer pressure too easily. When Paul told the Romans, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed. And that's what we need to do, is to be transformed and to rest in God instead of just looking around us. And it is the world that says to be afraid, and we can rise above that.
And God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but one of
Exactly.
power.
Yes,
Self-control.
absolutely.
Well, is there anything else that you would say to parents to help them on their homeschool journey that might help as far as fear or just doubt?
A couple things come to my mind. When you boil it all down, clear it all out, what are your children worth to you? And the right answer is, they're worth your very best. They're worth the investment of your time in them. And I would say, secondly, look forward. Don't look down. Don't be afraid. We knew a lady in our church who lived to be 100. And when she was about 98, 99, something like that, someone asked her, well, Joy, aren't you tired of living? Don't you, just kind of ready to go on and be with the Lord? She said, I want to see what happens next. What a beautiful attitude from this woman, who could have counted her miseries and pains and disappointments and hurts. She wanted to see what's going to happen next. And I let's have that confident, forward-looking attitude. I would encourage parents not to fear failure. I spent a lot of my life fearing failure. Don't fear failure. If you're going to fear anything, fear what will happen if you don't give your best, if you don't invest yourself in your children. But don't live by fear. Live by faith. God will guide and God will provide.
Another thing that I think makes us afraid is that we don't trust our child. We don't trust who God made when He made this child. I remember a day that I can still remember where I was standing when a mother called me, and she was very concerned about her daughter. Her daughter was very gifted in art, and she loved to cook, but she wasn't very academic. And when I got off the phone, I just thought about this girl, and I thought, what if she had been born hundreds of years ago? Maybe no one would ever have known that she had what we might call learning disabilities or learning challenges. Maybe she became the most accomplished bead artist in the village. Maybe her cooking was what everybody enjoyed, and all the women were coming to her and asking her, what herbs did you put in this, and how long did you cook it, and everything. And perhaps she became very wise, and people came to her for wisdom, and nobody knew that she couldn't do math or she couldn't read, or because it wasn't valued. Exactly. And I think we're afraid, one reason we're afraid is because we accept what the world says our child should be and do. And maybe God did not create this child to do what the world standards are. Maybe God created this child to be, like I said, a wonderful artist. We've heard of Thomas Edison. We've been to the town where he grew up, and there's a statue in town devoted to his mother, because she didn't let what the school said about him define him. Right. She just took him out of that school and taught him at home, and he did some pretty amazing things, and that's just one of many examples of a person who just was, quote, different. And I think we won't be afraid if we'll accept that, accept our child as who God made him, and just help him do what it is that God gifted him to do.
I totally agree. Every child is different. I just want to thank both of you for your words of encouragement. I know that everybody who sees this will appreciate all of the help that you've given them. And I know you have a blog that parents can actually join in, especially if they have questions.
Sure.
Kind of like what we've talked about today, and they need some words of encouragement.
Yeah.
Can you tell them how to find that?
I'd be glad to. It's called Daily Encouragement for Homeschooling Mothers. You can find it at notgrass.com/daily, and you can sign up. It'll come to your inbox every morning at 7 a.m. Central Time, and it is just whatever pops into my head, whatever experience I have that will, I believe, encourage mothers. And it comes from a time in my life as a homeschooling mother when I didn't have anybody to do that. And I want to do that for other mothers. So I'd love for you to join us at notgrass.com/daily.
Thank you. Oh, I just want to thank Ray and Charlene for being with us today, and thank you for all of your stories and all of your words of encouragement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're honored to be
It's been
here.
really fun.
Thank you.